Well, hello, and it is that time of the month again for me to go through the yard and show you all the changes in the fleet and all the doings and what's going on, basically a monthly thing I do. And I can tell you that this month has been a particularly busy month for all sorts of new things happening. It's just very exciting indeed. Yes, not wanting to sound like I'm exaggerating at all, but this has been the most exciting month ever. To start with, Project Derek finally moved from that one place it'd been sat all that time as a non-running car. And it's here because I've driven it up here, because I got it working. But the fact is, it wasn't not working in the first place. It just didn't really have any fuel in it. And the fuel that was in there had gone stale because there's nothing to stop the volatile stuff from evaporating out of the tank. I tried it. I opened up the top of the fuel tank and I poured some petrol directly into the tank and kept turning it over, and eventually it fired up and it sounded nice. And I drove it up here and up and down the yard and I was over the moon. So much so, I've cleaned it, most of it. Look at this, that was all green before. Do you remember that? I certainly do. It looked disgusting. But it's not without further problems, because although I managed to source a fuel filler neck which was missing, the pipes that lead to the fuel filler neck have all been cut. And that means at some point I'm going to have to take the fuel tank off and get all of those little pipes that go into all the return pipes and stuff like that you can't actually undo from the top, and replace them. So what was going to be quite an easy job has turned into a big, difficult and awkward job. Will it start today? Well, let's find out. It does smell a bit petrol-y in here. No, because the battery's flat. Do you know how much I would like to be driving around in a big old barge like this again? I definitely would. I've always had a soft spot for the 800. They're not a sports car. They drive like a pencil. It's that kind of old traditional luxury that you have in one of these, with the attention to detail everywhere. That just really appeals to me. Anyway, might be a bit of a pipe dream. Next on the list is this thing here. Look at this. Old English white Rover 25. Really nice early model. Picked up just a few days ago. In fact, not picked up at all. No, it was delivered. It was brought around here and I was asked if I wanted to buy it. And I said yes, I would actually. But the only trouble is, I can't. But Senior Mustard can. And he's finally got into the frame of mind of having a Rover 25 in his life. I can't wait till my brothers hear about this. They're going to be so, not jealous isn't the word. No, they think things like this are a load of rubbish. You know, they're not expensive enough. They're too reliable possibly, I don't know. But anyway, they certainly don't get the appeal. But Senior Mustard does, and that's great. Anyway, this is an exceptionally clean 21-year-old car. And the things work like that. Key fob works in it. The interior is quite nice. It's got that bit there that needs a bit of repair, of course. But the really cool bit is this. 36,701 miles. I know what you're thinking, and you'd be right. Yes, that is quite a low mileage, isn't it? That's not a great deal of miles done in a 21-year-old car. Why is it here? Well, it's here because the chap who owned it knew that I had Rovers here, and I've spoken to him once before, and the first thought he had when it comes to getting rid of it was to bring it to me rather than scrapping it, which is good, because why would you scrap a car like this? Why do people scrap cars like this? Yes, that's a strange kind of perception that people have when they think something like that is not worthwhile keeping. The head gaskets does appear to have failed on it, but why should that put us off? It really shouldn't. I don't even think he knew, to be absolutely honest. He's moving away up to Blackpool or somewhere like that. and so basically couldn't take it with him. So I'm glad, very glad, he brought it here. What about the car that was previously parked in that spot and had been there for quite a while? Project Marjorie, the 216 GTI. Well, that car just kept on giving me the runaround, and eventually there's a lovely young chap called Daniel that said, I want to buy that car, I want to buy that car, please sell me that car. And I did, so he took it, and now it's fixed. He's fixed it, him and his brother fixed it within a day, so now that car now has an MOT as well. That is a good decision. That's the best thing I could have done. Project Alfie. This is now going up for sale in the not so distant future. It's time this car went to a new home. Hopefully, well, it will be a good home, because I won't be letting it go to someone who's not going to provide it with a good home. Simple as that. What's new with this car? Well, two things actually. For the moment it is missing a mirror cap, because that's gone on to Nigel, because I wanted Nigel to look at its best. But also we can see we've got a change of alloys. I have a set of Cosmos alloys on it now, which aren't in the best condition, but I've always wanted a set of these, and the only reason I have these is because of another car that looks exactly the same as this but with lots of dents. That car was collected by me somewhere in Birmingham for my friend Turb, and now the thing is, what's happening to that car I really don't know, but I've since moved that on over to Scunthorpe. So it wasn't even in the last car update video, so does it really need to be in this one? Well, yeah, because I've got its wheels, so why not? However, stopped using Alfie since the beginning of this month, because I may as well have a different car every month, hadn't I? And I do miss it a little bit, and I will be sad to see it go, but there's no point in having all of these cars, is there? Expect a no-nonsense sales pitch video soon. Moving on to Project Max. The blue on blue on blue. The blue car with blue bits absolutely everywhere. I really want to drive this one again as well. I really like this car. I took Project Max up to the top a couple of weeks back to give it a clean, because it was getting covered in of tree sap and stuff, and it was starting to stick to the paints. But now, well, it's not too bad. But you can't make this paint look nice, that's the trouble. And I can't pretend that it hasn't got these big dents down the side either. But it hasn't stopped me from putting it up for sale, and I've had no real inquiries about it. Which brings me back to another rather interesting point on this car, really, because, well, I'd like to keep it. I would like to keep it, and Craig has offered to spray it. Oh yeah, indeed, a full respray once the paint booth is all complete at Rover Revival. And the reason is because I've done so much to help that chap with my massive sticker on the back of my truck. He's become quite generous to me, or at least in theory. In practice, we'll see. Will it actually happen? Will this car end up with a full respray at Rover Revival? Putting him under pressure there. That's worthwhile doing. On the day I dropped off so-called Project Alfred, the rather unloved looking Rover 45 that looks like my car but not as good, I picked this up because this was available also in Scunthorpe. And this became Brian Johnson. Project Brian Johnson was brought home by me, winched onto the back of the truck because it didn't start, and brought back here. This car was sold to me at a special price that only I could have had it for, I believe, because of the fact that I would do something with it. And I have. I fixed it. The problem turned out to be just a broken earth strap. So as soon as I mended that, it started. It's perfectly good. So then off the thing went next door for its MOT, and it passed. Yes, it passed without even an advisory, because the car is solid. It's like new underneath, and it drives faultlessly. The only issue was it was a bit smoky to start with, but now all that's gone, so it must have been something to do with it just being left standing. And this is the first of my cars to be given the Project Nigel sticker. And since the beginning of this month, that car has become my daily driver. But maybe not for too long, because it will be going up for sale quite soon. Over in the overgrown corner, which is definitely what's starting to happen here. Some gardening's needed down here, or very, very desperately in fact, is Project Christine. Project Christine, unfortunately, still no progress, nothing happening. There will come a point where something will happen with this car, and the floor pan will be welded up before it rots out all the way to the back. But when that's going to be, I'm not sure. Maybe somebody else will just take it on, another enthusiast. But the only thing I'm promising really is that it won't be broken. Next we have Jake's cherished Metro, or Rover 100 rather. And yeah, this is not my car. It's just staying here for the weekend as a treat. I've set the alarm off of it again. There we go. Well, I did a video on this one just the other day actually, when I went and collected it. This car's staying here for the weekend for the Project Nigel get together, because he wanted to show it off. I'm quite happy to oblige with that, really. And it suits being here. It really does. It looks happy in the yard. It probably is. Underneath the cover here is the SD1. The SD1 that's been there since last month hasn't moved in the slightest bit. For over a month now, that cover's been on there. I've not looked inside it. You never know. Joey Tempest, the lead singer from the band Europe, famous for the song The Final Countdown, could be living in that car right now with his dog called Bobbins. Perhaps I should check. Well, I can confirm that Joey Tempest of the band Europe, who dominated the hit parade in 1986 with the song The Final Countdown, is not living in this car. I didn't think he would be somehow. Then we have Project Hank. No, Frank. Hank's gone away, hasn't it? Hank's gone to be, you know, well, not even fixed, he's fixed. This one isn't fixed. No, it's not. It's exactly the same, in exactly the same position as it was last month, and it will remain so most probably. It is for sale as a spares or repair, but that's it. I'm not really going to try and repair this one myself. I can confirm at least that this car, it isn't smelling or anything, so that's quite a good sign. It means that it's not damp. Somebody buy this. That's a reasonable price. What do we have next? Project Ronda. It looks a little bit like it's trying to be another Nigel, but not quite managing it. It has the style and panache of your wife letting out a big ripper in the kebab shop. Great plumes of methane gas being lightly disguised by the smell of kebabs. What a wonderful image. Still, this is a car. It has everything it needs to possibly go back on the road. But of course, who's going to want it? Who's going to want a car like this? Unless you're after some sort of project, it's going to be a bit difficult to shift on. But just like Nigel though, of course, this is a combination of Rover bits and MG bits throughout. So Rover dash trim and the Rover name, Rover 45, MG seats, MG body kit on it, MG wings from that special 180 with the flared bits on it to make it look a bit more naughty. The easiest thing I could do with this really would be probably to have it for parts, but I believe it's not too far off having an MOT. It just needs quite a few bits putting back together, and then, you know, it could be a car again. But who's going to buy it? That's the trouble. I know somebody might really want it, but I'm not sure who that person is. And I've not done anything with it since I've brought it back because I've had quite a lot on this week. It's been the busiest week ever this week, actually. Of all the cars I have here, this one's probably got the biggest question mark over its future. But this one, on the other hand, really doesn't. The future of this one is fairly clear. It's going to have the bumper bolted back on, and a new battery, and the alternator belt, or the auxiliary belt, will be fitted. The brakes bled because they're spongy at the moment because I had the rear calipers replaced, and then it'll be going next door for an MOT. This is the car I picked up yesterday, and it is a really, really nice example of a late ZR. 5-door model 25s and ZRs are not really my kind of thing, but this one is, it's just particularly nice. And I did have a nice 5-door one before, a ZR diesel, the super diesel. I enjoyed that. That was quick. This one should be quite nippy as well with its 1.8 engine. I've set the alarm off, haven't I? That is a really very loud alarm, especially when you open up the bonnet and it's properly ringing in your ear like that. All I need to do is find the appropriate belt for that car and the brake bleeding, and then that can be a car again. And stop all that silly noise there. It's quite unnecessary. Right, now that Project Amy out, the decision was made to take it apart. And I can't remember whether that was before or after the last update, because I think it was before, but I can't remember. And regardless, it's had a few minor things taken off of it so far, nothing much, but it's really not worthwhile mending, unfortunately, due to the amount of corrosion underneath the car and the condition of the paintwork. As a vet may say about your old dog, it's the kindest thing to do. Obviously that sounds a bit strange, doesn't it? But consider this. Bodywork rotten underneath, paint rotten, windscreen needs replacing, engine noisy, no coolant in it, very little oil. What the oil is not very good at all. How about transit face? Well, transit face has got a new rear number plate because the old one had cracked and looked a mess, and I was in danger of getting pulled over by the Rozzers. As well as that, 2 new tyres on the back, and when I say new, I mean second hand. Almost straight after the previous update video, I decided to vandalise it with the words Project Nigel. I think it was already on the bonnet, I can't be sure, but it definitely wasn't on the sides. And some may say I've ruined my truck. I don't think that. I don't think it's possible to ruin this truck. I like it much more like that. It makes it really stand out. It's not just any old scabby transit on the roads. No, it's the Project Nigel truck. And yesterday while I was out in it, spotted quite a lot of people looking at it. Yes, so it's doing its job, and it's doing its job well. Yes, I'm happy with that. And now, the star of the show. I just love this car. It still makes me really happy. And it's even starting to develop its own smell, which is quite unusual. It's kind of an old car smell. Yeah, it's like an old car smell, but a looked after old car. Almost like a luxury old car smell, which is, it's strange. I don't know where that could possibly be coming from. In the past month, the only thing that's happened with this car has been the introduction of its own Nigel sticker, bespoke to this car. Yeah, mine's the only one with the red play thing on there as well. So nothing, no progress, everything's done that needs doing. But that, it shouldn't stop me from being able to chat endlessly about this car because I like it so much. So I'm going to have to try not to talk too long about it, because in a moment I'm going to give this car a little wash over. It's not really dirty. It's not been anywhere dirty or muddy since I last washed it. So it doesn't need it. Oh, that reminds me actually, there is one thing I have done with it. How could I forget this? I spent 2 days cleaning it. I spent 2 days with the clay bar and the machine buffer and the other buffer thing, and then the different types of wax to get this paint to look as nice as it possibly could, so I could go to a show the next day, which was the Furious Driving show. I forgot about that. Yes, I did that as well. But today it just really needs a bit of a quick clean-up because it's not really dirty. It's got a bit of dirt happening at the bottom just there, but it's not dirty inside. Won't stop me from vacuuming it though, because if you keep on vacuuming it, the dirt can't possibly find anywhere to live. I still haven't put the boot carpet in or the boot liners just yet because I haven't got to the bottom of why the boot is leaking. I've taken these out and I've messed about with the seal and stuff, and it's still not right. But I have found some ginger biscuits and that pleases me immensely. When I finish with this video for today, I shall go ahead and give it another little cleanup. But that's going to mean having to move that 800, which isn't going to be easy because it's not going to want to start again because the fuel's not too great. Is there anything else I can tell you about in the yard? Yes, there is. I still haven't done anything with these seats that are cluttering up the place, and the engine crane's still in the same place, and the box full of suspension legs is still there. But there's been some gardening going on and the arrival of a new yard cart. I don't know whether I'll see that one every day or not, but the other one, not seen that for a good few weeks, which disappoints me, but hopefully the other one will be back again. Everything is pretty much the same in here actually, except that I have a gazebo thing that I had given to me and I haven't managed to do anything with it just yet. I did say that the walk around video, the car update thing, would never include silly music or too much editing. And obviously things change a little bit. But of course, I brought my keyboard to work because I don't play it too well at home. And that's because it's the kind of thing that I like to leave out, whereas my wife likes things put away. Personally, I think if you're using something, you leave it out, you leave it switched on, so you can just walk past it and just play it. And that doesn't work at home. So that's why it's here. You know, I've said that the front end of a 25 looks like a shark's face with a moustache. So that's it. Nigel is basically a Jackanory shark. This has, I'm sure, been quite a big video. I'm quite pleased by that. There's a lot to show you. Tomorrow may be an even bigger video because of the Project Nigel meetup. And here's Nigel safely tucked away after being cleaned. It's become a bit precious. Has Nigel become a garage princess? Quite possibly. It's funny to think that the thing that first appealed to me about this car was that it was so unpretentious and so exactly what it isn't now.